Otho. I didn't realize you were into the supernatural.
Of course, you remember. After my stint with the Living Theater.
It has been 38 years since Beetlejuice opened on March 30th, 1988. It cost $15 million and made $164 million. It won the Oscar for Best Makeup.
And the Oscar goes to V. Neal, Steve Laporte, and Robert Short for Beetlejuice.
The character who appears the most in the film's marketing was on screen for just 17 minutes. The actress who played the eccentric stepmother met her husband of 33 years on that set and died just 2 months ago.
Personal level, Beetlejuice, because I met my husband on Beetlejuice. He designed the sets.
The girl who played the goth teenager had her career destroyed by a shoplifting charge, disappeared from Hollywood for nearly a decade, and came back as one of the most beloved figures in television. And the man who played the villain was later convicted of soliciting a 14-year-old, a film about the dead trying to reclaim what the living took from them. Let's see what the living actually did with it. 1. Glenn Shaddix as Otho. Glenn Shaddix was born on April 15, 1952, in Bessemer, Alabama. He was a theater actor who built his career in regional stage work before Hollywood found him. He was 35 years old when he played Otho, the preening, scenery-devouring interior designer who arrives with the Dietz family and immediately begins redecorating both the house and every scene he walks into.
I don't know. Otho. It's too late, Charles. I'm sorry.
Otho is pure comic creation, a man who believes himself to be a spiritual authority and is entirely, magnificently wrong about everything. Shaddix went on to voice the mayor of Halloween Town in The Nightmare Before Christmas in 1993 and appeared in Planet of the Apes in 2001. He remained close to Tim Burton's creative orbit throughout his career. In 2005, he suffered a serious fall at his home in Birmingham, Alabama, that left him with lasting injuries. Glenn Shaddix died on September 7th, 2010, at his home in Birmingham. He was 58 years old. He is the first member of this cast to die before the sequel was even announced. He created one of the film's most quotable, physically committed performances in a role most people could not name an actor for if asked. That gap between how vivid the character is and how invisible the actor remains is the specific unfairness that working actors carry their whole lives. 2. Sylvia Sidney as Juno. Sylvia Sidney was born on August 8, 1910 in the Bronx, New York. She was a major Hollywood star of the 1930s, a leading actress at Paramount, the face of working-class drama during the Depression, appearing in films directed by Fritz Lang and Alfred Hitchcock before most of the Beetlejuice cast was born. She was nominated for an Oscar for Summer Wishes, Winter Dreams in 1973, 40 years into her career.
Sylvia Sidney.
We're almost out of time.
How about this one?
She was 77 years old when she played Juno, the chain-smoking, world-weary afterlife caseworker who processes the Maitland's paperwork.
Will you guys shut up and leave me alone? I've got all this paperwork to do.
With the barely concealed exhaustion of someone who has been managing the recently deceased since before most of them were born. It was the most perfectly cast role in the film, a woman who had actually been in Hollywood for 60 years, playing a bureaucrat who has seen everything and is tired of all of it. She continued working through her 80s, appearing in Mars Attacks for Tim Burton in 1996. Sylvia Sidney died on July 1st, 1999 in New York City. She was 88 years old. She had been in films since 1929. She outlasted most of her era by several decades and spent her final years playing ghosts, bureaucrats, and wise women at the edges of other people's stories. Her whole career earns that ending. 3. Jeffrey Jones as Charles Dietz. Jeffrey Jones was born on September 28, 1946 in Buffalo, New York. He built a solid career as a character actor through the 1980s, a Golden Globe nomination for Amadeus in 1984, then the role of Principal Ed Rooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off in 1986, which gave him one of the most recognizable faces in American comedy. He was 41 years old when he played Charles Dietz, the stressed Manhattan businessman who just wants peace and quiet.
We've got Ed Cornwall to head the Wax Museum, dedicated to 50 great moments of the paranormal, here in Thanksgiving.
Who moves his family to rural Connecticut to escape the city, and immediately starts experiencing things far worse than any city ever offered. Charles is the film's most grounded character, the man who has the most normal reaction to a genuinely abnormal situation. Jones played him with the specific exhaustion of someone who simply wants everyone to stop. In 2003, Jones pleaded no contest to a felony charge of hiring a 14-year-old boy to pose for sexually explicit photographs. He was registered as a sex offender. As of 2021, he remained on the California Department of Justice National Sex Offender Database. His last known public performance was a 2015 stage production. He has not performed since. Charles Dietz wanted to escape the noise of the world. The world did not let him. 4. Geena Davis as Barbara Maitland. Geena Davis was born on January 21, 1956, in Wareham, Massachusetts. She studied acting at Boston University, worked as a model and a clothing store mannequin in shop windows, before landing her first film role in Tootsie in 1982. She was 32 years old when she played Barbara Maitland, the recently deceased half of the Maitland couple, the ghost trying to reclaim her home from people who don't know she's there.
Why did you disappear when you stepped off the porch? Are we halfway to heaven? Are we halfway to hell? And how long is this?
Barbara is warm, persistent, and entirely out of her depth in the afterlife, which she navigates with the determined optimism of someone who refuses to accept that dying means giving up. The same year as Beetlejuice, she won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for The Accidental Tourist.
Goes to Geena Davis, The Accidental Tourist.
A film she shot simultaneously. She followed it with Thelma and Louise in 1991, one of the most culturally significant films of the decade. She earned an Olympic qualification in archery in 2000, having taken up the sport only 2 years earlier. She was ranked among the top 50 women archers in the United States at her peak. She founded the Geena Davis Institute on Gender and Media in 2004, which has become one of the most significant research organizations examining representation in film and television. Today, in 2026, Geena Davis is 70 years old. She played a dead woman trying to reclaim her home. She spent the next 30 years making sure the living did better by the people they had been ignoring. 5. Alec Baldwin as Adam Maitland. Alec Baldwin was born on April 3, 1958 in Massapequa, New York. He attended NYU's Tisch School of the Arts and built a steady stage career before moving into film. He was 29 years old when he played Adam Maitland, the other half of the recently deceased couple, the ghost who is slightly less proactive than his wife, more bewildered by death.
Save my life.
2 hours!
Oh, Barbara, you are not going to believe what?
That's only...
More likely to stand in the corner and hope things resolve themselves. Adam is played with a sweetness that made the film's horror elements feel safe enough for a mainstream audience. Beetlejuice launched him toward the hunt for Red October in 1990. He became one of Hollywood's most bankable stars through the 1990s and 2000s. He won multiple Emmy Awards for 30 Rock.
Emmy goes to 30 Rock.
He did acclaimed dramatic work in The Departed and Glengarry Glen Ross. He portrayed Donald Trump on Saturday Night Live to enormous cultural visibility. Then, on October 21, 2021, on the set of the film Rust in New Mexico, a gun Baldwin was holding discharged and killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins. It was ruled an accident. The criminal case against Baldwin was dismissed in 2024 after proceedings involving disputed evidence. Hutchins was 42 years old. She left behind a husband and a son. Baldwin has continued working. The case has never fully left public conversation. Today, in 2026, Alec Baldwin is 67 years old. He played a ghost. The most significant thing that happened to him afterward had nothing to do with any role he ever played. 6. Catherine O'Hara as Delia Dietz. Catherine O'Hara was born on March 4, 1954 in Toronto, Ontario. She began performing at Second City, Toronto in 1974, became one of the founding members of the SCTV television sketch comedy series in 1976, and spent 8 years creating characters Lola Heatherton, Dusty Town, a dozen others that demonstrated a range most actors never achieve in a lifetime. She was hired to join Saturday Night Live's cast in 1981. She quit after a few days without appearing on air to go back to SCTV. She said simply, "I had to go be with my comedy family." She was 34 years old when she played Delia Dietz, the pretentious sculptor who moves into the Maitland home and immediately begins destroying everything the Maitlands loved about it. Delia is the film's funniest human character and its most committed. O'Hara played her as someone who believes completely in her own terrible taste, which is the only way the role works. She got the part without a formal audition. Tim Burton had seen SCTV and sent for her. She flew to Los Angeles, got lost, arrived at the wrong studio, found a note on the door apologizing that Burton had to leave. She called her agent from a payphone and sorted it out. She got the role. On the set of Beetlejuice, she met production designer Bo Welch. They married in 1992 and had 2 sons. She played Kate McAllister in Home Alone, voiced Sally in The Nightmare Before Christmas, worked with Christopher Guest across 4 beloved mockumentaries, and then played Moira Rose in Schitt's Creek, winning an Emmy and a Golden Globe for a character that became one of the most quoted television figures of the 2000s. She reprised Delia in Beetlejuice in 2024. Her final performances were in The Studio on Apple TV and The Last of Us on HBO. She received a posthumous actor award for The Studio in March 2026. Catherine O'Hara died on January 30th, 2026. She was 71 years old. Michael Keaton wrote of her, "She has been my pretend wife, my pretend nemesis, and my real-life true friend. This one hurts." She met her husband in this film. She built her greatest role, Moira Rose, from the same instincts she brought to Delia. She never stopped being the funniest person in any room she entered. She left the room 2 months ago. The industry is still adjusting to her absence. 7. Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz. Winona Ryder was born on October 29, 1971 in Winona, Minnesota. Her parents were writers. Her godfather was Timothy Leary. She grew up on a commune in Northern California until she was 7, then in Petaluma, where during her first week of junior high, she was beaten up by students who mistook her for an effeminate boy. She enrolled in acting classes at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco at 12. She made her film debut at 15 in Lucas in 1986. She was 16 years old when she became Lydia Dietz, the goth stepdaughter who sees the Maitland ghosts when no one else can, fascinated by death in the way that teenagers who feel invisible in life sometimes are.
The attic. What do you look like under there?
Aren't you scared?
I'm not scared of sheets. Are you gross under there?
Keaton's Beetlejuice got the title. Ryder's Lydia got the soul. She became one of the defining actresses of her generation. Heathers, Edward Scissorhands, Bram Stoker's Dracula, The Age of Innocence, Little Women, Girl Interrupted. Then on December 12, 2001, she was arrested for shoplifting $5,500 worth of clothing from Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills, convicted of grand theft and vandalism. She said in 2024 it definitely had a giant effect. She had been in a medication haze from a broken arm and remembered being told she was going to prison and not understanding how that was possible. She couldn't be insured for films afterward. Work dried up. She moved to San Francisco. She said she took years off without understanding how dangerous that was, and when she was ready to come back, the landscape had changed around her. Stranger Things returned her to the center of the culture in 2016. She returned as Lydia Dietz in Beetlejuice in 2024, 36 years after the original. Today in 2026, Winona Ryder is 54 years old. The goth teenager who saw the dead when everyone else looked away spent 15 years being the one everyone else looked away from. She came back anyway. She always does. 8. Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton was born Michael John Douglas on September 5, 1951 in Coraopolis, Pennsylvania, the youngest of 7 children. His father was a civil engineer. He studied speech at Kent State for 2 years, dropped out, drove a cab, drove an ice cream truck, and tried stand-up comedy. He made his television debut at 23 on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, then moved to Los Angeles, changed his last name to avoid confusion with Michael Douglas, and started landing work. Nothing stuck until Night Shift in 1982, Mr. Mom in 1983, and a stretch of films that ranged from decent to forgettable. He was 36 years old when he became Beetlejuice the Bio-Exorcist, the ghost with the most, the character who appears for exactly 17 minutes of screen time and dominates the entire film.
Here's why I won't do 2 shows a night anymore, babe. I won't do. Well,
Keaton designed him himself. He told makeup to put mold on his face. He asked the wardrobe to pull clothes from multiple time periods simultaneously. He arrived on set already knowing who this person was. The film led directly to Batman in 1989, despite thousands of complaint letters from fans who thought he was the wrong choice. He proved them wrong and then walked away from the franchise when Joel Schumacher took over and the tone shifted toward camp. Val Kilmer replaced him, then George Clooney. Those 2 films are now remembered as disasters. His career drifted through the 1990s and 2000s solid work that never quite caught the cultural moment. Then, Birdman in 2014, a film about a faded actor famous for playing a superhero trying desperately to be taken seriously. The parallels were not subtle. Oscar nomination, Golden Globe win, Emmy for Dopesick in 2021, Batman again in The Flash in 2023, Beetlejuice again in 2024. Today in 2026, Michael Keaton is 74 years old. He drove a cab in Pittsburgh. He put mold on his face. When asked which role he would keep, he didn't pick Batman. He picked the 17 Minutes. Beetlejuice said the dead don't go quietly. They fight for what is theirs. One woman left 2 months ago still working. One teenager fell publicly and climbed all the way back. One man put mold on his face and built a career nobody predicted. The dead were right.